Islam, Ashe, greetings and peace, love and light to all earth beings on Earth planet. I want to send a special peace of love to the Moors of North America, North, South, and Central Americas, and the world over. The name of this particular podcast tonight is going to be Let's Get Our Mind Right. Let's get our mind right. All right, let's get our mind right. This is the name of the podcast tonight. I am Period Phillips Dangerfield Ill. And we're going to be talking about a few things tonight. Oh, and it is, we're in the first month of the year. Well, per the Christian calendar year, it's the third month of the year, which is March, or third cycle month. And Moorish calendar year, it is the first month of, well, it's not even the first month of the year, because spring is not here yet. Spring is rolling up on the 24th of March, 2025, Christian calendar year, 1445, Moorish calendar year. All right. So we're looking forward to a upcoming spring equinox, motivated, focused, new year, new time of abundance, time of balance and motivation, and getting ourselves ready for the great changeover, specifically speaking on the Moors of North America. All right, and walking into the golden age. All right. So let's move on. We're going to be talking about several topics tonight. Beginning with, well, it's not in any particular order, but looking over social media, what's going on around the world, and specifically in North America with the level of politics ever changing, the decline of the United States corporation in this age of what we call Aquarius, what the ancestors prescribed, our ancient ancestors prescribed, the system prescribed to identify the forces that influx on this plane of existence. All right, and we call this age the age on the wheel of time, the age of Aquarius, and the decline of the North American corporation. States corporation in North America. We certainly want to, as a human race, we certainly want to focus in on nationality, nationhood, tribing up, switching over to a more of an advanced state within our heart space, and also balancing off our mindset. All right. And this is what I was thinking about when I decided on the title of this particular podcast, Let's Get Our Minds Right. All right. So I want to start off with the gender wars. I think the gender war, the gender wars. We're gonna start with that one. Here in North America, probably beginning in the 70s, the 1970s. Well, maybe before then, you had the concept of voting rights. All right, the concept of voting rights, and This particular concept was brought about because of the suppression of the females, specifically the European females within the United States Corporation. And these voting rights, they were not allowed to vote versus the European males, all right? And then, of course, you had the Moors of North America who were described as Negroes and blacks. You know, we had to march, you know, in order to get some type of what I would call privilege, you know, march for privileges in order to gain voting rights and gain an opportunity to vote and do all the political begging is what I call it. So with this phenomenon, the Asiatic Moorish female, or the quote-unquote black woman, took on the fight of the European woman, because there's obviously a separation within politics of the European female and the European male during that time, the European dominant male during that time. And it appears that the European conglomerate targeted the Moorish female in order to assist with the European females. The Moorish or the so-called black woman decided to jump on board with the fighting for the rights of women. You know what I'm saying? Women across the board, and kind of jumped off the bandwagon of helping to fight for rights with her and her spouse or her man. Is what, when you look back and you study and you look at the phenomenon, this is what you'll see. Also, you'll see that the government subsidies that were perpetuated right along with all of the 501c and all of the IRS benefits, tax benefits, kickbacks, created subsidies for Asiatic women, Moorish women, or what we call so-called black women, to divide from the Asiatic male, all right, the Moorish male. And this, of course, caused an imbalance between the males and the females, the Moorish males and the females in North America, all right? And so you fast forward, from those times, 60s, 70s, up to the 80s, which is known as the crack era, the crack era. And then you have all of the prior intrusions on the Moorish family. And then here comes, the epidemic and the intrusion of the crack era, particularly on the Moorish family in North America. And this is said to have been implemented by agents of certain government agencies. No particular name. There are some names thrown out there, within the alphabet community, the alphabet gangs, but you have to have absolute proof. I won't put any particular names out there, but they were, that they were agents of government agencies. You know what I'm saying? It's just how things have worked on this level in North America. All right. So moving right along, we get to the 90s era, and we still got the crack going, and then introduction of gang violence, and drug use, and then within the music really started, and this is a timeline of how the gender wars really substantiated itself specifically between the Asiatics, the Moorish men and women, you know what I'm saying, who identify as black, all right? And you'll notice these gender wars are not so concentrated with other nationalities, you know. Um, the Europeans, the Mexicans, the Asians, it's not so concentrated, even though some of the quote unquote Arabs, you know what I'm saying, people from the East, Hindustanis, although they have certain things within their cultures where, some might question. However, they don't really war against each other. There's no real separation or platforms of separation like it is with us. So at any rate, getting back to the point, we got the 90s, you know what I'm saying, the crack era is it is peak, you know what I'm saying, and you got the 90s with the gang era, the Bloods and the Crips, and you got some other offshoots of those gangs, and then you got outside of that, you got the music scene, you got the music. And within the music, of course you had some of the softer sides of music, the Teddy Pendergrasses and Keith Sweat and, some of those things. And then it started, and peace to all the musicians, I have nothing against any musicians. But then the R&B music started turning more so towards, I guess with the gangster rap, the R&B music, they started featuring artists on some of the rappers on some of the R&B music, and not that was the issue. However, some of the artists was, they was real type gangster music, and it was more so about just using a woman, the feminine as an object of sex and ego based versus the traditional love R&B love songs and how they were traditionally placed out, traditionally written and produced, etc. You know what I'm saying? So this also, some of the women were going for it, but then at the same time they were getting, they would start beginning to get a certain type of treatment from the men, and this was part of a perpetuation, just a small portion based on my study. And, you all may have some other information as well, but this is just some of the things I paid attention to during, my studies and my experience within these factions and dealing with the music scene, personal associations, etc. Right, and then on the flip side, for the men versus the women, we have it's just a lot of different things, with the women. Compared, I guess one of the things that I personally, I really hadn't experienced personally. I've always seen friends and buddies experience certain things, you know what I'm saying? And it was usually always, one of the things being compared to, us being compared to other men, other nationalities. Usually the European males based off of financial stability, certain type of deal, you know what I'm saying, and just a lot of other different things. And which is, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? There's always been reasons for the gender wars. And also, if you Google search the silent war against the masses, there's a portion in there that it talks about the women and how the women are trained or programmed to push the status quo versus pushing entrepreneurship. And this is historically now, it may not be today. I mean, it's 2025 Christian calendar year, coming up on Moorish calendar year 1445 here in March 24th. spring equinox. And so you've had the women, um, perpetuating and promoting the status quo of, more, you better get a job. You know what I'm saying? Even though the system is staged against us Asiatic males. You know what I'm saying? Everything is set up against the Asiatic male. All right, the Moorish male here in North America, as far as the system goes. Now, not that the system is broke, but the system is simply set up against us. All right, and at the same time, we're supposed to keep up with every other male, every other nationality of male that's not attacked. Now the Mexicans, the Mexicans, they are more tolerant when it comes to certain things, and they'll work, some of the lesser jobs, lesser pay, et cetera, but they still get attacked on some levels too. However, the Asiatic Moorish male gets attacked the most. We have historically gotten attacked the most, and that's a whole nother podcast, the reasons behind that. All right, but just staying to topic. And all of these things that I just named and put out there are an example for the gender wars now that are perpetuated here in North America. Whereas with the Asiatic Moors, who identify as black, and where when it comes to social settings, you can go online, Facebook, YouTube, you got TikTok, you got Instagram, you got all type of X, you got all type of social media sites and outlets where demonstrations have been given about what men are lacking, what women are lacking, and just all of the faults with little solutions. You'll notice these platforms with all the faults and little solutions. And it's normally just us on there coming at each other and talking about what one doesn't do versus what the other one does. Who's right, who's wrong, etc. All women are crazy. It's not always that shallow. However, it seems like, all right, one need is what's perpetuated is that one gender needs to change and the other one needs to stay the same. Nobody ever says, this is just what I've noticed. The men don't say, well, we need to clean these portions up. It's always, oh, well, the reason we're like this is because you're like that. Versus, all right, I agree we should clean certain portions up, and then, we can clean this up, but we need your assistance, or you need to, clean that up, yada, yada. And on the women's side, it's pretty much the same thing. Nobody is saying what they're going to do to try to, to work to clean things up. And it all starts with self, just working on yourself, pretty much. Everybody is just not going to all get it at the same time. However, if we can start just, cleaning up, how we treat each other, meaning that one solution, from a man's perspective, we have to decide that we just, we just not going to try to sleep with every woman that we see. The end goal is just to sleep with them, and lie to them and play these games, with them and, just to sleep with them. Now, I know, look, I'm not preaching to anybody because I've had my own personal struggles in that arena because, these Asiatic women, these Moorish goddesses are beautiful, And when you're in your lower self, there's a higher self and a lower self, and when you're in your lower self, all you thinking about is body. You're not thinking about family, babies, her feelings, that you about to play with, after you get what you want. You're not thinking about things like that. And then when you think about it in this fashion, once you do get ready, because most men, most of us men, once we get older and mature, we get established, we get our money right, After you done slept with so many women, you want a wife, a companion. You know what I'm saying? And then here it is, you get a companion that has been ravished by us men, that has been mentally run through the ringer and played with mentally, emotionally. And then you really, have feelings for her, but you got to deal with what another one of us then did to her over her lifetime, of dating. And you got to deal with the spoils of that, you know. And this is why, if it's in the younger Moors, younger brothers listening, well, just take a second thought. You know what I'm saying? Just come on out, tell the truth about what your intentions are, and then that goes for all of us. And then on the flip side, the women, to um, have all these expectations up front. You know what I'm saying? For a man, simply put, asking for gifts, costing these astronomical amounts of money. You know what I'm saying? Expecting, you know, 100 to a $600 dinner, and y'all don't know each other. The man don't know nothing about you. Versus maybe meeting somewhere and talking. So meeting somewhere, a public place over, breakfast or a cup of coffee. During the daytime, a safe place. You know what I'm saying? Or expecting just all these expectations, and when you don't know anything about this man yourself, you ain't did no, nobody's done any investigation, anything. Women certainly should do their investigations about any man they, take a liking to or dating, and vice versa with the men. Don't take women lightly. You know what I'm saying? There's some con artists out there, so on both sides. But don't just think, you just gonna get over on a woman, and then she may have something in the pocket for you. So everybody needs to do their safety checks, when dating, and treat each other proper. Uh, when dating, and with these gender wars against each other, it certainly doesn't help us. Um, doesn't help us connect and build strong families, and build a strong legacy. I mean, um, some say, I've heard some people say, you can only build strong legacy with strong connections, and I'm a supporter of that. And I also support the approach that with a strong family, what I'm saying, husband, wife, um, in a sense of reproduction of children in generations, wife or wives, or whatever, however you see fit, and husband, what I'm saying. This certainly builds a strong and confident legacy, what I'm saying, and especially for us in North America, the Asiatic Moors, who have been lacking nationality, the last 300, almost 300 years, man. We hadn't dealt with nationality, and it has been a downturn, and brought us to a peak of warring with each other socially and politically, and the end game to this is just, what I'm saying, pretty much fallout. But the end game is already hit, where you have a lot of our feminine, our females, in an aggressive role. They're in a masculine, aggressive role within their existence of going to work, grinding every day, 40 to 70 hours a week. You know what I'm saying? Craziness. You know, can't. So a lot of our women are single, can't not getting a man because one of the reasons why is of course they've been dealing with their own personal traumas, and then you got some women who don't know how to turn off the aggression or the masculine because they're used to going to work and coming home and taking care of children by themselves, and that's not truly the role of a feminine or a woman, especially a sister. That's really not That's not really the role. The role is to nurture. Her role is to nurture and multiply and perpetuate. You know what I'm saying? That's her role. And when she has to go to work, grind, push, and do all these masculine things, she's out of balance. You know, and this is one of the reasons why we do have the gender wars and we do have the high expectations because she got to do all this ripping and running and working. So, so that turns up the expectations for us men. You know what I'm saying? We have to. What can you do for me? You know what I'm saying? Type of deal. Now, since we're warring with each other, and you know, and then on the flip side, you got the men, you got us Moorish men who identify as black, who are fighting against the system. You know what I'm saying? Or fighting back, or trying to defend ourselves from a system that has been set up against us. Meaning the when it comes to the politics of the court systems, we get harsher times when crimes are committed. No one's without mistakes. And, some of us have been economically suppressed in so many different ways. And so we turn to the streets to crime. And then when the hammer comes down, we're looking at, significant number of years, more years than our Mexican counterparts, and especially the Europeans. You know what I'm saying? They don't get any time for any crimes. Unless they all, try to kill a president or something. That's when they may get a stiff penalty. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, traditionally, in comparison to us, the time is a significant gap. So you have that part on, with us, and then of course us attacking each other, and at a astronomical rate for different reasons. The programming, the music encourages this, and then it's all a big bowl of big pot of spoiled stew is what I call it. That we got and we're facing, with each other. And especially in comparison to our women, you know what I'm saying, and so the way we fix this is to acknowledge the issues that we have based off of the conditions in North America of a lack of identity. First and foremost, we got a lack of identity going on, and then a lack of acknowledgement of each other's existence. And I'm gonna touch on that later with the religious deal. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of these religions that we subscribe to, and from what I see, is a lack of study within the religions. It's more of a culture. It turns to more of a cultural thing. It's not really where people don't really read their Bibles or their Qurans and don't use dictionaries. And I was like that. You know what I'm saying? Speaking for myself, where I wasn't, in the Christian faith, I wasn't using the dictionary, and so misinterpreting some of the scriptures. That's some of the causes as well. You have a lot going on, but the solution to this is to certainly, accept the facts of our identity, our Moorish lineage, our nationality. This is the last nationality that we fail, where we fail as a nation and as a people, and just acknowledge the fact that it's a birthright. You can take advantage of it, and also learn to love instead of hate. You know what I'm saying? Yourself, and and we can, we have to take a look at ourselves first, and before we look at everybody else. It seems that usually we want to compare ourselves to other nations, and that's cool as an example. But we have to take a look at ourselves and then begin to deal with ourselves, our men and our women. Reflect on yourself and deal with, what you can do to be a better person. You know what I'm saying? To be a better man and to be a better woman for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And this would also assist in limiting the opportunities for the gender war to perpetuate, socially and economically against each other, because we really need each other at the end of the day, and we're gonna need each other at the end of the day. All right. So moving right along to the next topic from the gender war. Let's talk about inferiority and a superiority complexes. In North America. Period. We can talk about it universally. All right. And I'll just start with a concise definition of what inferiority complex is versus superiority complex, and then go into the topics. All right. So inferiority complex is essentially where one feels that they are less important than the other, than someone that's exactly like them or exactly not like them, pretty much. Whereas a good example is that, say for instance, one is on a job, you're on a job, right? And the job, supplies refreshments, all right? And with the refreshments, they offer everyone refreshments. They offer one person, 5 of whatever it is they're offering, and they only give you 2. They offer them 5, they only give, you 2 of them. And you accept it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, most everybody else got 5, and they only gave you 2. You know what I'm saying? Whereas where everybody else got 5 and you got 2, they could have split it up where everyone perhaps got 3. You know what I'm saying? Where everybody got enough, But instead, you accepted those 2 slices of pizza, 2 whatever cookies or whatever, because you didn't put up any type of say so, or because you feel like, well, all right, well, I just take this. I don't really feel like I deserve more than 2, and not because you're on a diet, just because you feel like you don't deserve it. And that's more of an inferiority approach, to who you are, whereas it should be balanced. You deserve, just because you're a spirit in the body just like everybody else. You're working on that job just like everybody else. You should have the same amount as everyone else. All right. So the inferiority complex here in North America has really well, I just say it like this. I don't want to missay it. The inferiority complex in North America with the so-called blacks who are Moors has been huge, with the last 100 years, really, last 100, well, I'm gonna say last 40 years. It's been huge, man. Because going back to the civil rights era, some of those ancestors was, they wasn't taking it. They was marching, and they was, but there was still the inferiority was there, but it wasn't as bad as what it is now. What it has been, within the last 20 to 30 years. You know what I'm saying? It's been really huge. Whereas, our lack of identity, and when we're steadily begging the European, we have begged the European counterpart to do this for us, to pay attention to us, to do this and do that, et cetera, versus us knowing exactly who we are, where we come from, and knowing the politics of North America, meaning that, we're not from, some foreign place, and we actually have rights on these lands here in North America, whereas we don't have to ask for anything. Now, there are a number of individuals that exercise these rights, but however, that's not enough to get any type of action, any type of remedy, here without unity. The unity has lacked. And the lack of unity also says a major inferiority complex with the Asiatics in North America. It's all across the board. There is an inferiority complex with us, with each other. You know what I'm saying? Whereas we have no faith that we can unify. To get a goal accomplished. And usually, hey, it's a work for us to unify. We'll find any reason not to, historically. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, you got us attacking each other for any given reason. And this is a symptom of inferiority complex, whereas the same type of energy has not been given to other nationalities. I haven't seen, for example, I've witnessed Asiatics attack each other at a rate of energy that has not been anywhere near where they, defend themselves from the European conglomerate or any European or any Mexican or any Asian, or they don't, we won't go attack anybody else like that, like we've attacked each other. And this suggests an inferior complex with us as a whole, where we don't show love toward each other. We don't care about how each other feel. You know what I'm saying? We'll say it, usually, in forums we'll say how much we love our people, but come on, if you ain't practicing it, you know what I'm saying? In the heat of the moment, you ain't practicing it. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? And that's ego. We're gonna talk about that in a minute, all right? What the ego is really supposed to be for. So, at any rate, we want to curtail the inferiority complex and balance ourselves off and know that, take responsibility for these behaviors that we have with each other. These behaviors, the disunity, attacking each other, showing a lack of love toward each other for any accomplishments, and looking to other cultures or other quote unquote races as a substantiation. You know what I'm saying? The Europeans, they have their own culture. Our pale skinned European counterparts, they have their own cultures, modern cultures here in North America in a way. So we've adopted a lot of their cultures, and we'll use the adoption of their cultures to attack each other and use their cultures to substantiate what we're supposed to do when that has not worked for us as a whole. It may work for some of us, in different ways, but it doesn't work. It obviously doesn't work for us as a whole. You know what I'm saying? It works for them. You know what I'm saying? You got different European factions here in North America. They're, from a business perspective, they're thriving wonderfully. They have their particular religions. You know what I'm saying? And, it works for them. But as a whole, it hadn't worked for us, because you look at how we attack each other. We're some of the most religious people on the planet. The so-called blacks, the Moors who identify as black. But look at how we treat each other. Look at the lack of unity. So a lot of these things has yet to work for us. So what do we do about it? What is the solution? Well, the solution, of course, is to do a reflection on yourself and we have to deal with ourselves and begin to accept ourselves for who we are. And most of the time, um, when we show respect toward each other, you know what I'm saying, things work out for the better. But the competition, of course, the gender wars, and lack of respect for each other really starts with ourselves and not dealing with any parts of our lineage or limited portions of our lineage, etc., etc. All right. Now let's go into the superiority complex. Now, um, this particular topic here, portion of what I'm talking about here is on the superiority complex. I won't go too deep into it because the superiority complex is, and I'll go into the definition, but I won't go too deep into it because here in North America, the the only people dealing with the superiority complex are the smaller percentages of the human race who's leading. You know what I'm saying? The European conglomerate. And then a lot of the smaller factions are the people, the general people under them. Adopt that particular superiority complex. On some clubism type stuff. So anyway, at any rate, let's talk about the superiority complex and the I'll do it from a European conglomerate, elite, quote unquote, elite perspective. All right. So, superiority complex, the definition of this one, or an example of, I won't give a definition, I'll give an example. An example of a superiority complex is pretty much, I'm better than you. You know what I'm saying? For any given reason. All right. And the complex comes in is because in regards to, I don't see it any other way. You know what I'm saying? I'm better than you, and I don't see it any other way. You know what I'm saying? I deserve this, I deserve that because of whatever was in my mind or whatever was inbred in me or programmed in me. I'm better than you, and and I'm not gonna prove it to you. I didn't prove it to myself. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way it works. And this is the way capitalism works as well. All right, here in North America, it's just the way capitalism works. Whereas, you got the trickle down effect. Hey, you guys work a bunch of hours a week when and make us rich. When you get 65, you're gonna get a little check the rest of your life. And that check ain't probably gonna be no more than $600, depending on what you qualify for. That as far as capitalism goes, and where capitalism doesn't make anybody rich. On the bottom end now, the regular people don't get rich off capitalism. But on the top end, when we work all these hours and we do all this ripping and running for 50 to 60 years of our life, of our existence here in these bodies, then expect a check. You know what I'm saying? And they're super rich. It's insanity at its best, and it's just a superiority protocol on their parts. You know what I'm saying? And particularly with the European conglomerate social system, the colonists, you can call them colonists, and whereas there's been the violation of the Constitution, Magna Charta. You had all these things, and which is pretty much a superior form of attacks against the Aboriginal family here in North America. All right, especially here in North America. All right, and so we, a lot of because of this approach, a lot of us adopt this superiority approach with each other. You know what I'm saying? We have adopted, if we make a certain amount of money, you know what I'm saying? If you Asiatic, melanated, you make a certain amount of money, and you've accomplished a certain thing in your life, that, you know, you are all of a sudden superior to your people and they're less than you, and and all of a sudden you're not your people now. You not them. You know, you not Quan and Ray and Tyrone and Leisha and Lisi. Shaquana, you're not your people no more. You know what I'm saying? You've made it, you've arrived, type of deal. And and you look down on them, and you may not even deal with it in that fashion. You may just do your thing. That's cool too. But I'm speaking on the superiority complex of individuals and how it usually works. And so with this, with this a lot, you have some of us, richer people of wealth, they, will make it on top, and then we'll look down at our people, look down on our people until we need them again, until we need us again, And this is an example of a superiority complex. So what's the solution to that? Pretty much knowing that nobody's better than the other. No matter how much money you make. And a lot of times you'll notice that, what they call it a Naga wake up card. Some of us will get our Naga wake up card. That you still still a ninja, no matter how much money you make. And not to be not to be vulgar or indecent, but we are who we are, regardless of how much money we make or how less money we make. No big eyes, little U's. It is what it is. We are a nation of people divided by disunity, protocols of disunity in North America. And we have the solution in our hands. We can fix it ourselves if we want to. We can take small payoffs. A lot. You got your agents out there taking crumbs. Getting little slices of. You get little slices of the sweet potato pie, when you can have a whole slice with a whole pie. With unity, you get a little slice, and then when they done with you, you ain't getting no pie no more. You're gonna get set in the corner and starved out. Pretty much, that's just how it works. And this is what's being demonstrated here in North America and the world over. You know what I'm saying? And so, pretty much with the complaints come a solution. The solution is to unify, et cetera, and start to show love for each other. All right. Next topic. We're going to talk about unity consciousness. All right. Unity consciousness is relative to learning to love instead of hate, uniting. So in my studies, my personal studies, and some of you have studied this as well, and we have a general understanding that this existence that we're in here, what we call the physical world, starts non-physical, or what we call metaphysics or quantum, whereas we leave the ethers and come and come into a soul's form and prepare to come into a body. All right. And so when you in the process of this, when you can perceive these actions, and you know that this is going on, you can see that this is going on, and you accept that, all right, I see this experience, I'm experiencing and remembering some of these experiences, and I'm aware of it. I'm aware that we're all connected, and that we come into bodies and we live these lives. And there's a higher power. Some of us pray to, in our various religious forms. All over the planet. Anywhere from Islam to the Veda, the Hinduism, etc. And we have a general understanding of that and awareness of that. And this is an example of unity consciousness. And so where we're in agreement of certain protocols of culture, whereas we may pray 7 times a day, or we may march around a holy site several times, and or even we may say a prayer together as a ritual. This is an example of unity consciousness. All right. So speaking on unity consciousness when it comes to nationhood. All right. The Moors of North America are some of the conscious Moors, like myself, a son of one mother. We're always usually talking about nationality being the order of the day, nationhood, the divine mother coming from one mother. We deal with the divine feminine, dealing with the planets, the cycles of the planets, the cycles of the feminine, the mother, and knowing that this is the source of creation, on this planet. And in dealing with that, excuse any noise in the background, please. And dealing with that, when we acknowledge the fact that we all come from one source, this is an example and is the best example of unity consciousness. And it's not really, it's something that we talk about. We don't really put a vote on it. It's just something that you're aware of. You are aware of it and you feel it, just like you don't really see it. It's not really tangible. When you are, say for instance, you're driving in your truck or your car at a certain rate of speed and you stick your hand out the window, well, there's going to be a reaction. You know what I'm saying? The wind, what we call the wind, is going to push against that hand. And then you don't want to be driving too fast doing that because you injure yourself. And you can't see, you're not able to see the wind, but it's there. You're aware of it. You know what I'm saying? You can feel it. You can feel it on the rate of speed, and that's an example. That's one of the, not to get all scientific, but this is an example of kinetic energy and how it works. You can look into that. But just using that as an example, you don't have to see the essence to be aware of it. You know what I'm saying? And so we don't see consciousness, but we are experiencing unity consciousness. And so when the Moors talk about nationality, birthright, going back to the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, as Noble Drew Ali prescribed, the most honorable Noble Drew Ali on the prophet, he suggested, required that, the Asiatics in North America who identify as black go back to the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, all right? And just for recognition, we're going to talk more about this in a digital age, all right? The advanced sciences and the advance of technology in the old world. This is the old world. The old world don't mean, the old ancient world don't mean old sticks and stones and the wheel was created and there was that. No ma'am, no sir. This is, the ancient technology is the highest of technologies that you can imagine in your mind that our ancestors dealt with, our Moorish ancestors dealt with, alchemy, science, all these are high sciences, even up to what is called magic. And by us going back to the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, we are, and through nationality especially, and accepting the fact of our birthright, this is an example of unity consciousness. And that unity consciousness gives us a power, and some might identify it as magic, but it's not. It's just the energy from source that we reacquire and align ourselves with. You know what I mean? And we'll begin to balance off all of the struggles, you know what I'm saying, that we deal with now, dealing with certain levels of consciousness is not without a journey, meaning that you may go, we all go through hardships in this life. Waking up to your birthrights, it's not always easy, and it's not always, you know, um, uh, some things are not going to be acceptable to you that you're not going to agree with. However, Noble Drew Ali suggests that we lead with love. You know what I'm saying? The 5 principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Those are the 5 principles, of our Moorish birthright. And those are 5 universal principles as well. And he suggested that we lead with love and learn to love instead of hate. You know what I mean? And we can get this, we can get this particular protocol down. We can certainly accept, we don't necessarily have to agree with everything that some of our ancestors did, but we can accept the fact that, hey, things happened in the past, and we want to make sure that we don't perpetuate that, i.e. the past repeating itself, i.e. the past repeating itself, you know what I'm saying? And then we're all, in disunity and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which it's not, per the prophecies, it's not seen to be coming up in the golden age. Where I see it, the ethers is cleaning things up real good, and people are beginning to change their minds, which is a good thing, and it's good to see us, finally coming together. Some of us finally taking that right pill, and coming together and focusing in on unity consciousness through nationality, and also getting rid of the social identity tags of Negro, colored, and Black, and accepting our Moorish consciousness. All right, let's get into let's see here, the ego and balance. So those are 2 different topics, and I'm just gonna crunch it up in one because I'm pushing for time here. I don't like to go past 2 hours, and we're working on 57 minutes here within this particular podcast. All right, so balance in the ego. All right, so let's go in on the ego first. What is the ego really? You know what I'm saying? And when I did my research on the ego, and when you do your research on the ego, you'll see that there are a number of different approaches to it, or definitions for it, meaning that it's mostly, what it's going to describe to you is mostly a reflection of yourself, what's important to you, the inner you. It'll say the inner you, things like that. When in reality, it's a protection. It's a protection mechanism. Is what it's supposed to be. The ego is supposed to be a protection mechanism. I'll just say that it's supposed to be a protection mechanism. And do your research on it. You know what I'm saying? But this is what it's supposed to be. This is what the ego is supposed to be. However, the ego is used, for other reasons, which leads, and we just talked about it, the superiority complex. You know what I'm saying? Levels of superiority. And this is where people's stubbornness come from. And, people ask me, why are you talking about this? Because there's a lot of imbalance with the ego. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of imbalance, and this is what brings about the gender wars, the social wars between us here in North America, the melanated more specifically. This brings about the disconnection. Whereas, we'll refuse to work with each other for any given reason. We won't, of course, we attack each other socially, you know what I'm saying? But then expect a good outcome out of that. You know what I'm saying? Expect to be somehow perpetuated on top of some social ladder from attacking each other. You know what I'm saying? and which takes things out of balance with us. How do you find balance in attacking other people? Just I don't see where anybody deals with that. How do you find balance with attacking other people? You know what I'm saying? Attacking your own people specifically. You know what I'm saying? Socially, or any kind of way you can think about. You know, um, and this has been perpetual. It's been it's like it's to insanity. You know, and so just talking about this, um, we've been out of balance pretty much. Um, adopting everyone else's approach to things. You know what I'm saying? This is just pretty much for the Moors who identify as black in North America, who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about anyone universally. Um, I'm talking about us. We've adopted everyone else's cultures. We try to adopt them, and usually it ends in us attacking each other, meaning that I'm going to adopt the culture, and now I'm better. Now you know what I'm saying? I'm better than you now. And you need to get like me, or you're not good enough, or that's not good enough, etc., etc. When in reality, if you happen to make it or reach a certain pinnacle within your plight or within your existence, you should want to help your brother or sister. You know what I'm saying? If they truly need help, versus I'm better than you, or the big eyes little U's thing. I don't mean to sound redundant with the big eyes little U's within this ego topic portion, but this has been an example. An example of this uh, has been demonstrated with us. You know what I'm saying? Where we feel like we're better than our other brothers and sisters, and that we deserve to be better for whatever reason. And I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do that. I ain't unified with y'all. I'm not y'all. I'm cut from a different cloth. I'm different. I'm this. I'm that. That's come on. You know what I'm saying? How and where? It's good to feel good about yourself, and I certainly applaud that with each person's evolution. But to suggest somehow that you're better than, like, again, you're better than your own people because of whatever reason, it can't be, and it can't be spiritual. It just can't be spiritual. All right, it's usually material. Some type of material attainment, and having knowledge. Well, you got more knowledge than your people with it. The knowledge was there before you got it. The knowledge was there before you got it. It ain't yours. It's you. That belongs to the ethers. That belongs to the Akashic records. The ethers. It was here before you got it. And I'm better than you because I got more knowledge. Come on. You see what I'm saying? So that's ego. Or a good example. Here's a better example, man. Maybe it's not a good example, but I'm gonna give it. All right. So we have a faction of us, Asiatics, in the quote unquote conscious community historically. To give examples within melanin, we'll talk about melanin, and how important melanin is, and et cetera, et cetera. Now, there are scientific facts, with melanin, you know what I'm saying? Scientific facts that, hey, melanin heals, melanin does everything. Everything, you know what I'm saying? And we need melanin to function down here, all right? And then you have some of the humans on the planet with less melanin, for example, like the pale skin, our pale skin brothers and sisters, they have the types. And so some of the people that I've witnessed in the conscious community will take these examples to attack the Europeans, you know what I'm saying? All of them devils and all this other stuff, Now, personally, I don't really agree to this, and personally, it's not because I like anybody that's European or anything like that. It's an example of ego. You're not spiritually building yourself by calling um, other peoples within the human race devils, even though everybody got something going on. Now listen, per my experience, I've seen melanated devils and pale skin devils. All right, I've seen them both and see them both and won't say nothing. I just observe. All right. Oh, I watch them in action and I make sure I'm out the way. I'm just all right. That's duly noted. Let me make sure I stay in my lane, type of deal. So that's an example. That's a great example of ego. Whereas because you got melanin, you think somebody is less than you, or they're oh you got just all kind of craziness, and you think that a lot of people think are misled that this somehow builds spirituality, when in fact it does not build spirituality. It does build ego. And ego is a tool of the physical state. All right? This is what ego is. It's a tool of the physical state, whereas you're supposed, per universal law, you are supposed to take care of the body that you're in. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to hurt or harm yourself, heal yourself, or you're supposed to defend yourself against any type of hurt, harm, or danger that you see coming or that is up on you. Flee from danger. This is what ego is supposed to do for you. You know what I'm saying? This is how the ego is to be used properly to preserve your being, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So that whereas you're dealing with people and they're becoming conscious and telling them certain groups of people are devils and things like that, as if there are no melanated devils out there. You know what I'm saying? That's an absolute folly, an absolute error. You know what I'm saying? Because there are devils everywhere, quote unquote, meaning that devils meaning character flaws, being self-centered, is going to attack people, looking to steal, kill, and destroy, type of deal. That's with us and anybody else outside of our quote unquote race. It's an energy. All right, it has no, that particular type of characteristic has no particular race. All right, there are good people that are Moors. There are bad people that are Moors. There are good people that are Europeans. There are bad people that are Europeans, and the same for any and every other culture on this planet and off this planet. So let's not go too far. All right. So with that, all right. So we're gonna conclude that portion, and let's get into with ego. Let's get into religion. Let's have a quick topic on religion, real quick, and that's gonna take me over to the digital age. I'm gonna talk about the digital age as well. So let's talk about religion, man. In North America, just a small overview, not a huge overview, anything like that. I'm just gonna, do a few minutes on this one. I did a couple of podcasts on political and religious dogma, part 1 and 2. You can find that on YouTube. That More Stuff podcast, and you can also find it on Facebook, Terry Dangerfield L. All right. You can see that. That one is not on Hubhopper, but it certainly is on YouTube and Facebook. All right. So, religion. So, what I want to talk about with religion is everyone has their approach to what we call the creator, the creative source. What we call God, Allah, Alut, Buddha, Jesus. Some people call creative source Jesus. Um, you have all the different factions, all right? And historically, um, these factions have been in competition with each other, you know, meaning that one religion is better than the other. Um, one religion is the real religion. One name is the real name of God, or God's name is God, you know, or God's name is Allah. That's it. That's all. Buddha is God. Jesus is God. You know, and that's cool if that's what you believe. All right. But the how do I say this? The where that particular approach meets where that particular approach, meets its crossroad is at the fact that one is no better than the other. All right. Um, and I say this humbly and respectfully. All right. One religion is no better than the other. Christianity, Islam, Islamism, the Veda, the Buddha religion, you know, you have the Catholicism, all these other religions. All right. With Catholicism being the oldest. None of these religions are better than the other. And no one can prove it. Not really. No one has proven it. When it comes to proving one is better than the other, well, you know, of course, each one go to what their book says and say that the other one is blasphemy. That's pretty much the essence of it, all right? Which creates what? Conflict and wars, all right? When in retrospect, one is no better than the other, all right? And so, who suffers from this the most? All right, who conflicts the most? What set of humans conflict the most because of this? You know, just ask yourself that question. Now, my experience in research says the melanated, you know, beings who identify as black, the melanated Moors who identify as black suffer from this the most, you know. And a good example is, you know, all the different denominations within religious institutions. And I've experienced these denominations, a lot of them. And what do? They ain't never really supported each other. On small factions they have, but my experience, it was one kind of sliding shade at the other. You know, other religion or the other denomination. You know, whereas a lack of love is demonstrated. You know, and the same thing with other religions. You know what I'm saying? You are an infidel. You know, if you don't accept Allah. You know what I'm saying? Accept the will of Allah. You're an infidel if you're in Christianity and Veda and any other, you know, type of deals. You know, where in retrospect, each religion, from what I've studied, each religion has protocols of love in it. All right? And most of the scriptures are misinterpreted. Most of them in regards to other religions, and most of the scriptures are not even naming. The funny part is the scripture, the books, the holy books are not even naming any of the religions. That's the funny part about it. Not now one of the holy books. Now look, hey, I can be corrected on this now. Anybody, any preachers or imams, anybody, hit me up, that More Stuff Podcast 013 at outlook.com. Look, I'm up for correction on this now. Now, my studies is not the end all be all. This is just what I've been studying the last almost 12 years, you know, up on my awakening. You know, I woke up right after 2012. All right, so I'm young in this game. You know what I'm saying? Any other masters of the diocese or theology, you can check me on this. Pull my card, please. All right, but none of the holy books say that the other religions are wrong. They don't even name the other religions in these books. Yet and still, I still see us melanated people telling each other that your religion is wrong. We still doing it. On top of identifying as black, you know, we unify on that one is an amazing phenomenon. We unify on the black, which works against us. But we won't, when it comes to religion, oh man, we about to tear each other necks off behind this, you know. When in reality, if that religion works for you, why not love you anyway? Why if I'm a Christian, why can't I love the fact that you are who you are, but you're a Muslim, or you are of the Veda, or you Buddhist? That works for you and your family, and you're not out there robbing and killing people. You're productive in society. Your children have went to college. You're not out there on drugs and alcohol because you have a faith that works for you. And I have a faith that works for me, and it's different than your faith. So why must I look down on you? Why must I not associate with you? Why is that? Now there's a lot of I get it in the holy books. Some of these holy books say, from a social standpoint, you don't associate with yada yada. Some of the terms used, unequally yoked, and unequally yoked is usually misinterpreted. And when you do more studies on what equally yoked means, it means harmonizing energy, which brings you back to love. Love is a harmonizing energy. The best example of what one's religion does for themselves and other people is the demonstration of love. And this is what is lacking with people in their religions. Love is lacking. Whereas in we'll claim to be like Buddha, Christ, Confucius, and honest to all the prophets and saviors from my end. But we claim to be like, we want to be like them. We want to follow them and demonstrate them, but leave the love protocol out. The universe, all of these prophets and saviors had universal love, which no one seems to demonstrate, especially with Asiatics in North America. And I can speak for myself. I tell you what, I went through eras of time prior to 2013, prior to my awakening, where I would look at another brother and would not like the fact that this brother had an outfit like me, a haircut like me, or he looked, glasses, what I'm saying, or a car like mine, sickness. That's kind of off subject, what I'm saying. And so, if we worked together or whatever, and we had a conversation, I would challenge, if I'm in my religion, I would challenge them on, I was in Christianity during that time. And sometimes I challenged them on what their religion was and what they knew about the scriptures. And if they didn't know the scriptures, I would condemn them. I could, throw a little shade, condemning, ego gets to jumping in instead of demonstrating love toward them, which is usually what they'll remember, the most. So, while I'm suggesting these topics and talking about this, I'm not really coming for nobody, but the truth is the truth. We're good at demonstrating these religions, but not so good at perpetuating the love that the prophets and the saviors, that were put in these books demonstrate the love. We hadn't perfected that. We hadn't even really harmonized with it. It's mostly forcefully pushed out there. If you're not navigating my religion, you're not good enough. You're not, you're lacking. Step your game up. Something bad gonna happen to you. Type of deal. Instead of showing love. If your religion can, it helps you demonstrate love. Well, personally, my opinion is that you have really mastered your walk in that religion. Simply put, you are not. I won't say mastered, but you're mastering. You're walking within a higher level within your religion. You know what I'm saying? That religion helps you to love everyone universally, you know, or show love universally, as where you don't judge them for not never because they don't because they weren't raised under your religion. You know what I'm saying? And so that's something we want to certainly work on as nobles in North America, as Asiatics in North America. You know, as you know, we want to work on that and learn to love instead of hate. Universal love, more of a universal love. Whereas, it don't matter to me what your religion is. We can still make $1 million, together. We can still do business together. You know, it's even some relationships where you have some that's Christian, some that's the wife's Christian or the husband Christian, the wife Muslim, and they actually navigate together in love because it's love that navigates their relationship and accepting each other for their particular experience in this life, and they did not let the differences in approaches to the Creator split them apart. You know what I'm saying, or not walk the same path. You know what I'm saying, or get to the same destination, which is to each other, and walk together. What I call religions, personally, is different routes to the same location. You know what I'm saying? You're taking different routes to the same location, same destination, which is the Creator. So there's no respect of journey, pretty much. I mean, whatever your journey is, it's universal. Your journey is your journey back to the creative source that we call God, Allah, whatever you want to designate the approach to that as, all right. So moving right along, I just wanted to go in on that and just encourage us wherever we are within our navigations toward the universal Creator, to demonstrate a universal love for the creators, the Creator's creation, created humans, because as far as I see it, the human race belongs to the Creator, one Creator, right? One set of people, is not better than the other set of people. When you start dealing with items of the Creator, which is quantum physics, metaphysics, anywhere 0 point energy. You see what I'm saying? Look these items up. When you start dealing with things on that level, it ain't nobody better than the other. That don't exist. So it doesn't even make sense to demonstrate a lack of love toward anybody else within other cultures and religions, etc., etc. And at worst, your religion should help you to love. At worst, you're trying to be better, you're trying to develop and evolve. Well, you're evolving in love and in your spirit and in your heart space. In your heart space and in your mind, all right? All right, moving right along. Let's talk about the digital age, man. This, I tell you what, this digital age, bruh, it's been a phenomenon. It is a phenomenon with the Bitcoin rolling out, all of these different coins, people getting rich off of all type of, meme coins and all of this stuff that's coming out. It is truly a phenomenon. The implementation of AI, artificial intelligence being applied to our everyday livelihood nowadays. Now, look, artificial intelligence has been out. All this high technology has been out. Of course, the higher level of the elites, quote unquote, the elites on top, have harbored this technology. We all know it. You can look it up. We all know it. And finally, it's being implemented and rolled out for us and for our personal use. And we're gonna have to pretty much learn it you know what I'm saying, adapt to it, but not be overcome by it. All right, not necessarily completely depend on it. However, we want to, use it as a tool. You know what I'm saying? Personally, I've been navigating with the Bitcoin and some of the other coins, and I've learned how to send Bitcoin, receive Bitcoin, use the QR code. Excuse me. Um, I've also, took a look at the artificial intelligence. We all, using that with that artificial into the chat bot, things like that, and people are actually making money off of these things, millions of dollars off of these particular type of tools. So, um, you know, particularly for the Asiatics in North America, this is a source for us. The digital world is a source for us to take advantage of. You know what I'm saying? We can, start to learn these platforms and get off of these 9-to-5 jobs that are not paying us right, not treating us right. Of course, the system has been set up against the melanated Moors of North America since the beginning of the 1900s, with the introduction of the Rockefeller school system. Mr. Rockefeller said within some of his quotes, he's not looking for a nation of thinkers, he is looking for a nation of workers. All right? Once you do your research on it, you'll see, where he says he's looking for a nation of workers. And so we have been the best example of that, working for someone many years, some of our grandmama and granddaddies, mothers and fathers, aunties, uncles, etc., children, etc., has worked for these factions ad nauseum and for years and years, and then we so-called quote-unquote retire on a fixed income where we still broke. You know what I'm saying? Still, you hit one little bitty pothole and there goes your world. You living with a relative. So these particular platforms and the rollout of, the AI and these other items are opportunities for us, specifically here in North America, to take advantage of and, learn how to work the chat GPTs and the other AI chatbots and make money off of them, and also make money on and create our own platforms too. You have some of the AI implementations that are able to create apps for us. We can create apps, online apps, and actually make money from this. All right. Excuse me. We can actually create apps and make a lot of money from these things. So, also, I took a look at what is this? What is it called? The fungible tokens. That's another. Oh, excuse me, got a phone call there. Fungible tokens. All right, fungible tokens. So I was on TikTok and excuse me, I saw this brother. Man. He's a rapper, right? And on TikTok, and he was an independent artist, right? Being an independent artist, usually when you work for the record companies, you don't own your masters. Well, he figured out a way to create his masters through fungible tokens and sell them. You know what I'm saying? Now, you guys can look this up, man. It's very amazing. But what he did was he sold some shares of his fungible tokens or something like that, and got rich off of it. You know what I'm saying? And these are things, the digital age, and he did this without any record company, without anybody attached. He did it himself. You know what I'm saying? And this is an example of what the digital age is doing for us. You know what I'm saying? It's an opportunity for us to branch out and honestly be entrepreneurs in our own right. You know what I'm saying? Um, and don't let these factions or these platforms that's in there. Look, it's some people out there that's calling artificial intelligence evil. They calling Bitcoin evil. Any way for us to free ourselves evil because it can potentially free us through an entrepreneurship type of approach. You know what I'm saying? Type of approach. You know. Um, so just do your best to look past these things because by 2030, Bitcoin, these fungible tokens, XLM, all of these coins, man, are going to be fully implemented by financial institutions, potentially by the Federal Reserve. You know what I'm saying? The U.S. Donald Trump, the praetor of the president, him and Mr. Elon Musk. Of course, they've done their investing in some of these factions, huge amounts of funding in some of these factions. So that just lets you know when people like these, billionaires invest in certain things, there's a future going on behind it. You know what I'm saying? There's a future to it. So certainly, I may not agree with everything Donald Trump does, and I may agree with some things he does, and I may, whether I like Elon Musk or not, if he got the right approach to things to financial freedom, well, I'm certainly gonna listen to the man. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to like you in order to listen to you and get rich. You know what I'm saying? Or help my economic situation where I can, take care of my family and support my children properly and you know, free myself financially and do things that previously I was limited in, And also, Noble Drew Ali said, honest to the prophet, he said, a bigger nation cannot rise to the highest level of spirituality. A bigger nation cannot rise to its highest level of spirituality. So these are opportunities for us. The digital age and the platform is pretty much an example of us going back to the mindset of our ancient ancestors. Up in the technology, going back to how levels of technology, you know what I'm saying, examples of space travel, travel through portals, all this stuff is, called science fiction. When you do your research, it's actually science facts. All right, and you look into it, and this is what our ancient ancestors, the Moabites and the Lemurians and the Atlanteans dealt with, the digital, what we're calling the digital age and high technology. This is one of the reasons why our existence, our past, our lineage is suppressed so hard, and so much and kept from us is because we are advanced beings, in these bodies. And we descend from an advanced culture, a sophisticated, advanced culture, particularly here in North America, for hundreds of thousands of years, up to millions of years. All right. So it's essential for us to take a look at the digital age and certainly consider stepping into it. And also, you want to do your thing in preparing for the changeover, of course, stocking up on things, essentials, foods, waters, etc. All right. All right. So I won't beat that hammer. I won't hammer that nail too much. All right. Last topic of this session: the true Egypt. All right. I'm going to talk about the true Egypt and talk a little bit about what Egypt really means. All right. I'm going to talk a little bit about what Egypt, the truth about Egypt, what it really means. And one of the sources I got some of this information from was an ancestor that I usually mention, named C.M. Bay, Charles Mosley Bay, honestly the ancestor. He pretty much put it out there, man, that the true form, the true definition of Egypt, the true location of Africa, etc., etc. All right, and I'm gonna do a whole podcast on Egypt, North America being the hub of the universe and being the true motherland and true Egypt, etc., etc. All right, and I have my sources in place, and I'm certainly open to any other information in regards to this. Certainly open to it, and please feel free to hit me up. That More Stuff Podcast 013 @outlook.com. That More Stuff Podcast 013 @outlook.com. You can also hit me at Terry Dangerfield L on Facebook and YouTube. Let me see. Yeah, YouTube. That More Stuff Podcast. YouTube, Facebook, Terry Dangerfield L, and I think Instagram too. Yeah, I'm on Instagram too. TERR96. I'm gonna change that handle, so I'll update you once I do that. All right. So let's talk about it. Egypt, the true Egypt. So the definition that Charles Mosley Bay gave for Egypt is fertile soil. All right, that's the definition that he gave. Fertile soil, particularly here in North America. All right, in South America, there's fertile soil in South America too. All right, so a lot of the fruits and vegetables. When you do your research now, this is research that I just came up on as well. Yeah, I saw it before, but I wasn't going for it. But I got it again, and I got some other perspectives, and it appears that most of the fruits and vegetables come from over here in what they call the West. All right. You know what I'm saying? North and South America, North, South, and Central Americas. Most of the fruits and vegetables and things like that. All right. This is where, and then, and the inventions of oranges and apples and the current banana, came from over here in North America. So that supports which is not a theory, but supports the position of Siam Bay. It's fertile soil, Egypt meaning fertile soil in the United States. All right. Now moving on to the true Egypt. When you go online and type in go to Google and type in when was Egypt founded? When was Egypt founded? And Egypt, the nation over in North America. And when you type this in, you will see something like June 8th. July? Somewhere around there. It was in the summer, all right? I think it was Leo season, Something like June 8th, 1953. June 8th, 1953 is what you're going to see. Whenever you go online, go to Google, and see and find out the founding of Egypt. It is going to tell you that the Egyptian nation over there is going to tell you June 8th, 1953. All right. And then you start looking over here at some of the cities and the cities, quote unquote cities and territories within the states, quote unquote states, with these names: Memphis, Memphis, Tennessee, Memphis, Texas, Memphis this, Memphis that, all these different cities. Just like over, it's a Memphis, Egypt over in the African continent over here in our Cuba land. And so you look at Memphis, Texas, Memphis, Tennessee, all these Memphises, and Cairo, Texas, and Cairo, Oklahoma, and Cairo, Indiana. And you will see that these cities are older. I'm talking about 1800s. You know what I'm saying? There's also a exotic map of the United States online where you can see these cities, these ancient territories, you know, and the United States Corporation didn't just name these cities under these particular ancient names for nothing, just by accident or for symbolism. It's because these are actual, actual cities. And when you do your research, actual sites, actual ancient places, actual um, sacred sites and places of our ancestors. Um, Asiatic Moors who identify as black. All right. And so you do research on this, you will see. And you can go on TikTok too. You go on TikTok. Oh, they spilling the beans on TikTok, beloveds. About these ancient cities and Facebook used to be like that. I mean, we used to some of the Moors, Asiatic Moors used to go pretty hard putting information out, but now this information is coming out real hard on TikTok. And on YouTube too. YouTube is shadow banning. TikTok shadow banning too, but you can look this information up where true Egypt is here in North America. So I wanted to just talk about this topic because it seems that we're still looking for salvation elsewhere as a people, and which that's cool. I mean, if that's true, everybody, we all have our free will, know, within this life, within these lives, these bodies. All right. However, whenever you there's a disconnect or an imbalance. All right. Of course, we're in unity consciousness. We're one. But when you call on ancestors and you claim to honor ancestors. You deal with ancestors away from North America. That have lived. You deal with other continents like Alkebulan or the African continent, and you calling on ancestors from Africa, and you neglect your ancestors from North America. There's a disharmony there. You know what I'm saying? There's an energetic disharmony. Whereas, if you did honor your ancestors here in North America, you would notice, you would notice a more of a harmonizing energy. Some of the ancestors, C.M. Bay talked about this. You know what I'm saying? And some of our other ancestors, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he spoke on this, and he spoke a little bit on this within his book. If you check out his book, you know what I'm saying? And certainly some of our other scholars and ancestors spoke about it. And Mother Verdiasi, the mother of, I call her one of the great mothers of North America, Mother Verdiasi, spoke about the ancestors and the harmonizing energy, and how those energies used her to do what she did, and some of the accomplishments she made. But however, I just wanted to speak on this, the disharmony that exists when you acknowledge one set of ancestors, but you don't want to, you don't acknowledge your American ancestors here that made a way for us to even be in the positions that we're in now, today. Good, bad, ugly. You know what I'm saying? Ancestors came before us to, in their personal plights, to ensure that we wouldn't have to go through some of the things they went through. You know what I'm saying? Some of the things they went through within their existence. And then besides, our European counterparts have yet to prove to us that we came over here on a slave ship from Africa as a whole. Now listen, I'm not saying that, none of us came from Africa. Not one single melanated person came from the African continent. The quote unquote African continent, all right? However, I am saying that there's no proof. There's not one slave ship, You go to museums. They have all type of ancient artifacts that are so many years, so many millions of years old. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking hundreds of thousands to millions of years old. And here it is, a few hundred million, because there's at least a couple of 100 million of us Asiatics, Moors here in North America, at least a couple of 100 million. All right, and so a few hundred years, it was probably half of that, if not more. A lot of wars happen, here in North America, and as where we were deleted, where we were fighting against each other. We were, the Asiatics, the melanated beings of North America. We were deleting each other, pretty much fighting each other. Tribal wars of North America over political and religious dogma, pretty much. Within the land, and you do your research on that. So, there's no proof that the pale-skinned Europeans brought 100 million of us over here from another continent. All right, where in retrospect, we were the one teaching them how to sail. It was pretty much against their religion to sail. There's a lot of things against their religion when you do your research. So, with that being said, there's a lack of acceptance of the fact that there's no proof that we came over on a slave ship. Therefore, we are not what the United States Corporation and the United States corporate school system, the Rockefeller school system, suggests that we are, meaning that we're, native Africans, not necessarily African in pedigree, meaning thick lips, kinky hair, dark skin, melanated, etc., etc. You know what I'm saying? Thick hips for our women. You know what I'm saying? And then all the other benefits that come with being an Asiatic Moor. You know what I'm saying? Or a melanated being on this planet. With that being said, certainly do your studies and searching on your lineage about these lands here in North America, which is our land. This is our vast state of North America, Morocco, Al Morocco, Metsum, you can name it. And we have plenty of names: Tamerica, Tamiri, Turtle Island. There's a lot of names for these sacred lands here in North America. And per Mother Verdeesi, this is a multi-quadrillion dollar estate. Quadrillion, not billion or trillion, but quadrillion. That was early 2000s. Of course, it has compound, certainly compound. I won't say interest, but profit. Based off of the operations on the land and the potential of the people, meaning us, Asiatic Moors. The potential of our potential makes this land what it is. You know what I'm saying? Certainly our potential, and certainly what the land can produce, and in our cultures and other things. All right. So the true Egypt is over here in North America, and as you do more research, you'll see that when the Moors civilized the world, we started here in North America and went outward overseas. All right. And that's how it happened. You know what I'm saying? Civilizing of nations by the melanated Moors of North America, who brought about, all the sciences, including the 12 signs of the zodiac. All right, the zodiac, them animals, the symbols, all that belongs to us. The number system, all that belongs to us. The Moors who call themselves black. All right, so it is time now for unity consciousness and for us um, to let go of being a victim or navigating the victim role of the white man owe me something. White man give me something. The European's not white, so we have to accept facts for what they are, and you don't have to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you don't have to deal. It's your birthright, but what we want to stop doing is pointing fingers when the truth is right there about us. You know what I'm saying? And for us to accept, and we certainly want to honor the ancestors and some of the hard-working family of ours, melanated family of ours that brought about a lot of this information. You know what I'm saying? Some of the nobles, some of the Moorish nobles, and some of the nobles in the conscious community that certainly risked their well-being to bring forth some of these informations. All right. At any rate, all right, I'm going to cease in the podcast here. Excuse me. Again, I'm Terry Phillips Dangerfield L. I want to extend the supreme honors to the mighty matriarchs that made a huge impact on my studies. Mother, Dr. Frances Cress Wellsing, with her writings and ISIS papers. Supreme honors to that mother. Supreme and high honors to the mother of Washita, Mother Verdici, Goston Turner L. Bay. I'm thankful to her for her plight and her energy. Certainly made a profound effect on my psyche and bringing about a unifying consciousness, man, within my being, within my mindset, and in my heart. High and supreme honors to Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King. I appreciate those elders and those ancestors for the work they did, and all of them risked their well-being to try to do something better for us as a whole. All right. So honors to those ancestors, honors to our mama. Supreme honors to the creative force. I am Terry Phillips Dangerfield L. That's the end of this podcast. Make sure you learn to love instead of hate. Let's focus on unity consciousness and no judging, and loving ourselves better, reflecting on ourselves, doing shadow work, questioning things that we do, learning about ourselves. Noble Drew Ali says, study yourselves, and when you have studied much and ask me what to study next, I will reply, yourself. So continue to study yourself, continue to forgive yourself, work with yourself. We're in the human bodies, prone to mistakes. This is a soul journey, all right? Honors to our mama. And again, this has been that More Stuff podcast. The next podcast will be coming soon. And I think that's it. All right. Peace, love, and light. Be well.